Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Derek Yale. Derek Yale.
Now, no frontin', can't talk cause I'm up to something now. I'm up to something, let it be no frontin'.
We feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions, and this panel comes with different styles in discussing national issues.
I'm up to something now. I'm up to something.
If you are living a glass hot, don't throw stone.
No frontin', can't talk cause I'm up to something now. I'm up to something.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you again for joining us here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale. I will be playing host tonight, and I'm joined by my co-host, who is with my panelist, Mr. Jai Winkin. So let's hear from you, Mr. David Takwe. Good evening, or good night, or where you're in Liberia. So, David, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to always be on the team.
Thank you very much, David. We look forward to a beautiful show we have stuck up for you tonight. Well, before we get into things, let me ask you now to please follow the Liberia Radio and Television Network, and also to please share this program on your Facebook page. And if this is your first time joining us, as you know, the Liberia Radio and Television Network is a local media institution right here in Northeast Philadelphia, and we have our office in Liberia as well. So you can check us out on Facebook, and that is the Liberia Radio and Television Network, or LRTN Live for short, and also on YouTube, the Liberia Radio and Television Network. So tonight, the LRTN for short is proud to present the season finale of the Hard Zone, that is season 4, episode 12. This is the last episode for season 4. So LRTN is proudly presenting that to you tonight. And as you know, the Hard Zone is an opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions, and here we have discussions surrounding politics and also some educational and socioeconomic issues in Liberia. So tonight we have a beautiful program set up for you. And before we get into it again, before I give you a highlights of what to expect on this program, let me again encourage you to please or share this program so that your friends and family may be able to benefit from what we have in store tonight. With that being said, just to give you a highlight of what to expect tonight, we will bring you our current events as always from Liberia and then the diaspora. And also, we will bring you conversations tonight surrounding the elections of President-elect Joseph Yema Boakai and also Vice President-elect Jeremiah Cohn. We'll talk about their plan to audit the current administration or previous administration, and also we'll talk about other things surrounding all of that. But with that being said, again, please, I can't say this enough. Please share this program. Make sure you are following the network and encourage your friends and family to do the same. And for now, let's join our co-host, Mr. David Takbe, and let he bring us the current event that he has from Liberia. David, can you hear me?
Yeah, Derek. Yeah, Derek. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon.
Can you make it a little? Can you bring it closer to the microphone and make it a little louder?
And Derek, as you people must have heard, Farmers and Development Planning Minister Tue has fallen into trouble with members of the legislature, particularly the House of Representatives. In fact, the House of Representatives has always arrested the acting speaker or deputy speaker Fonati Kofa has ordered or commanded the Cyber Adams to arrest and deliver Mr. Tua's living body before the legislature. It's all about his alleged refusal to appear before the House of Representatives in spite of several invitations summoning him to appear before the body to discuss issues of national concern, amongst them the issue of the national budget. Since then, Mr. Twain has not been able to honor any of the citations of the legislature. So that is annoying members of the House, and this is why the members have voted and have ordered his arrest to appear before the House. That is, he's being held in contempt by the House of Representatives. In other news, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission is asking outgoing officials of the government of President Weah to declare their assets on or before 12 December this year. And the LCC said it's not about vision, but it's about auditing the system to know what these officials of government came with into the government and what and how have they lived, what have they got, and what their salaries are to have even bought houses or built houses or own properties. So the LCC has made a clear that it's not about vision as it is being perceived across Liberia and all of that. And the National Elections Commission, and this is the big news, this is what will be happening tomorrow. The National Elections Commission will be certificating winners of the 2023 legislative and presidential elections, including members of the legislature, those who have been elected to represent their districts and counties in the legislature. There will be certificate tomorrow, and I've heard that the programs will be held at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex tomorrow during the morning hours. That is today. Today is Friday during the morning hours at about 10 to 9 o'clock during the morning hours in Monrovia. And unfortunately, Joseph Nyema Boakai, who has been elected as the next president of Liberia, will not be present at tomorrow's certification ceremony. Already, the UP or authorities of the unit party of which Mr. Boakai is the standard bearer, has written a National Elections Commission appealing to the commission to defer the certification of Mr. Boakai, who is in the United States as we speak. And what the communication did not say as to when Mr. Boakai will be returning to Liberia. So the UP has written the National Elections Commission to defer this certification whenever he can. So whenever he returns to the country, the UP will work along with the National Elections Commission to schedule a day for Mr. Boakai to be certificated. But in the midst of that, there are speculations about Mr. Boakai's health. In fact, there are others who suggesting that it's likely that the inauguration of the president-elect may also be postponed because it is likely that he may not be in the country at the time. And this is the perception about that some Liberians had about the absence of Mr. Boakai. Whatever he's doing in the United States is also unclear, but what we've heard is that he's meeting with Liberians in the United States and other parts of the world to express his gratitude to them for the support they're giving him throughout the campaign and electoral process. So that's what the United Party officials and others are telling us that Boakai is doing in the United States. Stay with the National Elections Commission. The National Elections Commission here in office has dismissed complaints filed by losers in the just ended elections. Many of the losers had complained to the National Elections Commission, suggesting or alleging that they were cheated. They raised issues like ballot stuffing, like in the case of Buffalo Chambers. The hearing office of the National Elections Commission has thrown that matter out. In fact, the hearing officer said most of the cases, including the complaint of Buffalo Chimmers, the complaint of Solomon George, the complaint of another guy in Granite County that filed a complaint to the commission regarding Vapila. Vapila. I think she's a member of the United Party. She won in Granite County. Her victory was challenged. In fact, the person who contested against us also complained to the National Elections Commission, questioning the fairness of the decision to declare Vapila the winner of the election in Grand County. Well, Lenny has thrown out all these cases and said they don't have the merit or they don't have the requisite gravity to overturn the results. So that means that the mayor of Muscle County District 7, who won in that district, will be certificated. It also means that Father Vapila, who was elected in Grand County, will also be certificated tomorrow. And Williams, Nimland, I don't know, this guy who contested against Buffalo Chambers. It will also be certificated Anthony Williams, who contested against Speaker Buffalo Chambers, will also be certificated because the National Elections Commission does not find any merit in all these complaints that were filed regarding the discrepancies that these complainants talk about. And in another case, in another development, let me turn my people around. Some incoming members, the last time I talked about the race for the Speaker of the House of Representatives. I called some names, Musa Beleke, Fanati Kofa, and others are all aspiring to become members of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. So far, we've heard that some members, incoming members, and all members of the House of Representatives have signed a resolution agreeing that Fanati Kofa is the best candidate amongst all those wanting to occupy the seat of Speaker of the House of Representatives. So we've heard about money exchanging hands that LRTN does not have the facts because LRTN has not independently confirmed whether Fanati Kofa is throwing money around or giving this coalition the House of Representatives money to make a Speaker of the House. But that's why we're hearing the LRTN does not have the evidence to prove that. But that's what is being rumored, and that's what is being rumored and argued in the public sphere. Another news I can tell you is that Tom has returned to Grand County quite recently. That was on Tuesday. I guess you've heard that. There was riot in Grand County on Tuesday. Young people in the county, they went on the rampage, burning homes, burning the compound belonging to traditional chiefs, burning two compounds belonging to the Senator Zoe Emmanuel Pennon, claims that Pennon has a hand in the death of Mr. William, Representative William, who died, according to people in Grand County. His name is Errol Madison Graham. Madison Graham came on the spotlight when he won a by-election in 2020, and he was the one that took the seat of Zoe Maya Pena, who was then elected to the House of Senate. And Guion was re-elected in the recent election, and all of a sudden he died. There's suspicion that there's a foul play in his death. And that's what caused the young people in Grand Judah County, specifically in the Chin district, who have gone on the rampage, burning houses and burning other property, destroying other properties belonging to citizens and very important people in Grand Judah, including Zoe Maria Pena. Most ability is saying that there is no need for the establishment of war and economic crimes court. He said it is not the time for such a court. Most ability said even those who call it for establishment of the war and economic crime but do not have the integrity. In fact, he mentioned the name of Ed Kors, he mentioned the United States. He said they don't have the integrity because they did not raise the issue of a war and economic crime, but they did not put pressure on former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for the establishment of a war and economic crime court. And why now are they pushing for a war and economic crimes going before? Because Joseph Whitehead of the Unity Party is also coming in as president of the Republican Liberia. So most ability is questioning the fairness or the integrity of those, particularly Edwards, the United States, and some Liberians who are calling for the War and Economic Crimes Court. He said it is not time for such a court. Finally, Derek, some seditions are still bitter. They stay disillusioned about the declaration or the victory of Joseph Walker as the next president of Liberia. These seditions said they disagree with Mr. Weah, outgoing President Weah's early conception of defeat. And they disagree with him, and as far as they're concerned, the Unity Party, the opposition Unity Party that has won the presidency, stole the elections, infiltrated the rank and file of the Unity Party, and this is why Joseph Walker has been declared winner of the elections as the next president of Liberia. In fact, this edition said Joseph Walker is not yet president. He's not the president of seditions. He's the president of all Liberia, but not the president of seditions. And so they are also planning to stage a protest on 22nd January. That is the day that Joseph Walker will be inaugurated. They will be demanding justice in the death of one of their partisans they claim was murdered by the Unity Party, and others who they said died, other seditions who they claim died as a result of violence perpetrated against them by partisans of the Unity Party. So, Derek, that's all I can do for tonight. Derek, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much, Mr. Takwe, for that splendid reporting that's coming out of Liberia. I just have one question for you based on your current events concerning the president-elect. Has there been any official press statement as to his visit to the United States, the purpose of his visit, and when he's going to return to the country?
Well, there wasn't any official press statement. If there was any, LRT was able to put a hand on it. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Walker's travel was heard on the radio, whether it was a press release or not, but it was heard in the media that he was traveling to the United States to visit, to express gratitude to Liberians and others in that country, to tell them thank you for their support. But there wasn't any official press statement that I saw, and this is why it's unclear as to when Mr. Walker will return to the country. And in fact, the purpose purpose of this trip is also unknown as to why he's in the United States, whether it's being invited, whether it's there at his own volition, and so if there were a fresh statement, I believe I believe those pieces of information would have been included in that press release as to who invited him, as to why he's going to the United States, and how long he's going to stay there. And this is why I guess that people are still wondering as to when he will come back and what is he doing in the United States.
Thank you, thank you very much, Mr. David Tugwell. Thank you for that reporting on the current event for the hard zone. Again, guys, before I bring you the current event we have here for the diaspora, which is relating to Liberia again, let me first have our panelists for this episode on the screen, and then I will bring you our current event discussion. And I want for us to keep it very brief, and then we'll take a break and then get into our real issues tonight. So the current event we have here is from the International Association of World Peace Advocates, that is IAWPA for short, to the office of its International Director African Affairs, His Eminence Ambassador John Mechi. Yesterday announced President George Manuel Weah as the winner of this year International Peace Prize Medal Award 2023. And this news article I'm reading, it says that this award is in total appreciation of the just concluded presidential elections in Liberia, which ended up with a runoff election and was regarded as an election that expressed the mind of the people without intimidation or electoral violence, as majorly seen in other African countries. It can be recalled that President George Weah was the first African president to receive the International Peace Medal Award from IAWP in 2018, an award that saw him demonstrate how peaceful he is up to the 2023 presidential elections in the country. Now, I just want to bring this to you guys for you guys to talk on the very briefly. President Weah begged that award for him conceding the runoff election to President-elect Joseph Yamapwaka. But before I do that, let me welcome all of you to this episode that is the season finale, season 4. Final episode is episode 12, season 4. I want to say thanks to all of you guys in the audience for being here through the season. And again, while you're watching us, please share this program on your Facebook page and also make sure to follow the network. Again, let me introduce the panelists, and then I will come straight to you and talk to what you think about the president of Liberia, the President George Manuel Weah winning this award. Let me start with you, Bishop Reeves. Welcome to episode 12, season 4 of the House, and speak to us on this on the president winning this award.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here tonight, and I want to thank God for everyone, all the other the panelists and everybody. We're here tonight to enjoy ourselves. That's what I think we're going to do. Speaking of the award given to President George Manuel Weah, I think he deserved that award. I strongly do believe that he deserved the award. Now that elections are over, and we're trying to bring the country back together in terms of reconciliation. I believe that I'm a proud Liberian, because if it's the first of its kind for an African to receive that, he made me feel very proud, and I'm very excited about that. I will enjoy, that as well.
Thank you very much, Bishop Reeves. Let's now hear from you, Mr. Boda. Welcome to the show and talk to us about President Weah winning that award.
I think it's a pleasure being here again. Thanks to my fellow panelists for having the pleasure to be here tonight to share some fun and important discussion. Well, it's a good news for our country. I mean, George Weah always been a very controversial each person, and God have blessed him to always win a lot of things for the first time. And I want to give him a applause for the way he conducted himself during the electoral process. Not many incumbent presidents have done what he did easily, especially in our African setting. And for him to have conceived even before election commission announcing the result, that opened the door for reconciliation, and that created took that cloud that we all were discussing here, the kind of uncertainty that was over our country, and that's good. And for him to win that award is great. Despite our differences, all of the aid in our society and what he has done, his leadership, I think his statement at the time of election was great, and I want to thank him for that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bodan. Let's move to you, Councilor Freeman. Welcome and talk to us about President we are winning that award.
You say what? It's a peace award.
Yes, the IAWPA Peace Award.
I mean, yeah, he conceded when he realized that the election was not going to go his way, and I think that's a good thing. It furthered the peace in Liberia. If the international community recognizes him for that, that's a good thing for him, and that's a good thing for the Liberian people. And hopefully, other African leaders are going to inculcate what Mr. Weah did.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai Winkin Weah. Let's hear from you, and welcome to episode 12, season 4. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, fellow panelists. I think I wrote a piece on that. I was very proud for Mr. Weah making such a decision. In fact, I got a lot of African friends from Cameroon, Nigeria, that wish that would happen in their country. And Weah again put Liberia on a map when there is a coup, when other people are developing in other part of the world. The same way my article I wrote was about how he put Liberia on a map as a best footballer of the first. I mean, the African won that award, and he did that again when all the African leaders, including neighboring Sierra Leone. This election was very close, and we was under pressure. So, in my opinion, he really deserved that peace award. No matter who supported him or not, I think all Liberians should be proud that at least someone in Africa, even the America that we are living today, we having Trump refusing to accept election up to this point, and we are accepting election while the counting was still going on. That was very great.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai Winkin Weah, and to all of you panelists. But for now, let's take a very brief break. When we come back, we get right into our discussion tonight.
David want to say something about that?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot David was not a phone. Let me give you the David. Go right ahead, David.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, okay, so then we can, critical mind, Liberia, who think that Korea accepted the results and considered so early because he had no choice. As far as the critical mind that considered was clearly that since he lost the election, and Mr. Williams lost the elections, so he had no choice but to accept the results. And besides that, observers are also thinking that Mr. Williams considered defeat so early because he was annoyed with his people, his partisans, officials of the CDC, who they claim he teacher monitor but did not deliver as he expected. And besides that, he's been acknowledged by the world because the world wants to encourage all the African leaders to accept results of elections to stop their countries from trouble as it has been, as we've heard in other countries. And so critics say the way have no choice.
That is not true.
Because he was declaring that he
let them congratulate the president on winning the award.
Such a move is unprecedented in Africa. That's the view of critical minds here.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Typer. Guys, let's take a very brief break. When we come back, we get right into our discussion for the night. So we'll see you guys right after the break.
Hey there. Many Liberians are members of social clubs, 501c NGOs, and school alumni. Many Liberians are trying to open their own 501c NGOs, home care agencies, and social clubs. Does your organization have a professional website? Does your web platform have the right wording and content to attract grants? Hopefully you're not running your organization only through social media. There's a more professional route. You need an online space where you can craft a positive message about your organization, making your home health agency more credible, which will increase your chances to receive grants. We'll build you a responsive platform for 501c organizations, healthcare agencies, and other types of organizations. We'll provide you with full website maintenance, membership sign-in, private charts, Facebook and WhatsApp integration, live video feed for all your meetings and special occasions, a dashboard for members to see all the activities, and email and text auto reminders for meetings. We'll build with donors and 501cs in mind, and will help you solicit grants and automatic membership due collections. Building you this amazing platform will only be a membership fee of $19 a month. Call or email us now. Let's upgrade your website. Home health agencies and small businesses, you owe it to your company to project the best image possible, and we can make it happen. Visit www.tiamit.com or call 215-966-8679. Ask for Tommy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to the Liberia Radio and Television Network, presenting episode 4, episode 12, season 4 of The Hard Zone. And as you know, The Hard Zone is an opinion-based talk show that features a team of panelists from different political institutions and different political persuasions. Now, guys, as you know, the rescue train of the Unity Party arrived at the Executive Mansion on November 14 of this year after the standard bearer of the Unity Party, Ambassador Joseph Yemambwaka, defeated the incumbent of the city seat, George Manuel Weah. But what lies ahead is what Liberians are discussing now. And so some Liberians are pushing for audit, and some are saying that they should go for the War Crimes Court. But before we do that, let's before we talk about that, let's address the elephants in the room, or what the president-elect Joseph Yuma Bwaka and the Unity Party has been about for the past few days. We are seeing footage on social media of him arriving in the United States. Our correspondent in Liberia talked about that. The party has now officially told us, or told the public, about his visit here, the purpose, and when he's going to return to the country. Matter of fact, his certification program that was scheduled by the National Elections Commission has been postponed, according to Amos Twer, the Secretary General of the party. And also, we're seeing footage of the president-elect with the CEO, former CEO of the Spoon Network, Stanton Witherspoon, and also a convicted criminal here in the United States. So a lot of people has been talking about that. And also, the party has not communicated with the public on the president visits to the United States. So that's what our conversation is going to be about. And then after that, we will get into talking about auditing or issues on the War Crimes Court. But let's get our conversation started. Do we have David still on the phone so he can set us up?
Yes.
Yes, David. In a minute and 30 seconds, just start us off on this conversation with the president-elect being with Stanton Witherspoon. Yes, go ahead, David.
David, are you there?
Yes, yes, of course. That's a matter. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we are hearing you.
President Obama had to be with Stanton Willis, who was convicted in the United States. Just at one time, just at one time, I thought I just said what that was, sir. Stanton Willis for yes, is convicted. But Stanton Willis, to some extent, supported the Unity Party, particularly Mr. Bonner. And I don't think it would have been possible for Mr. Bonner for sure. Stanton Willis was still making actually what the beach that would have been. And so he tried to do he had met with Stanton Willis and interacted with them and kind of rose Stanton Willis from the good and like you could say that the bad thing was about met with Stanton Willis. But I think that's what I'm trying to do and nothing can change it in my.
Thank you, David. Let's hear from our panelists. Let me begin with you, Mr. Weah. A minute and 30 seconds. Give us your reactions to Stanton and the president-elect, and also the Unity Party now officially communicating with the public.
Well, I think David just stated that for people that have been following Spoon TV, I think it's the most listened to and watched media institution in Liberia. And almost all the programming were in the favor of promoting Mr. Boakai for the presidency. So basically, it is clear. Boakai knows that, he acknowledged that if it weren't for Spoon, in my opinion, he was not going to be president. So I think he went there to show that he didn't forget them, he appreciated what he did for him. I think that was the visit. The other question about why did Boakai go? Well, Boakai has Prince Johnson, who's a warlord. Witherspoon didn't kill anybody in Liberia, so I don't see any big difference. Of meeting with Witherspoon, we just did something and asked for forgiveness. So I don't see any big deal in my opinion. If we can allow Prince Johnson to be closer to Boakai, Witherspoon, what is the big deal? That's what I think.
Well, let me stay with you, Mr. Weah. You're not concerned about the optics that comes out of that, with him being or convicted criminal. I hear you or comparing it with comparing him with that of Prince Johnson.
Because if you have issues with somebody allowing himself, if we don't raise any issue for accepting the endorsement of Prince Johnson, and somebody who's a radio talk show host and promoted Mr. Boakai, supporting him financially, that was not in hating. Everybody heard that. All the electorate in Liberia, those who voted heard that. So I think the Liberian people heard it, that Witherspoon supported him, even paying some money monthly.
Witherspoon was not the only person that supported him in the United States.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying something. So
right, I understand.
Boakai realized that. Well, Liberian people have no problem with that. So, what is the big deal of appreciating this man for helping him to become president?
Thank you. Let's hear. I wanted to ask you on the way you just talk about Stanton's crime, like he didn't do anything, or it wasn't like a big deal. But I'll come back to you.
No. What I mean by big deal here, he didn't kill people compared to.
What? He committed a crime.
I know. He committed a crime. He committed a crime, and this guy admitted that he committed a crime. He didn't deny it, and he's going to face punishment. He has been. I mean, he accepted the guilt, and he'll be punished for that.
Well, let's hear from Mr. Boda. Mr. Boda, talk to us.
Well, I know I support. I'm supporter of Unity Party and I love the Unity Party.
Yeah, but
But you know, the controversy between having somebody like Stanton Witherspoon, who is a convicted felon, he admitted he pleaded guilty for his crime. And he has a broader network across our society that all of our Liberian people are listening
yeah, it's a
to.
Liberian, anyways.
And there are a lot of controversies regarding who lead our state, who hold what position, the reputation, their character, their and this argument is held on his network every night, every day. The propounding who's to become Speaker of the House, Senate Pro Tem, and a host of them in various agencies of ministry, government, and so forth. And we're starting a new Liberia today. And Mr. Witherspoon is no exception to those. He's part of that arena. He's in that batch of people who have no character, no standing when it comes to reputation, when it comes to crime. Whether white collar crime or whatever you call it. And to dive into the Miss Prince Johnson, people may ask, why Prince Johnson? Prince Johnson killed Doe and so forth. That's another question because there are a lot that we miss when it comes to the Prince Johnson situation with Doe being. If you look at the scenario, I don't know many of you, if we follow through our trend, Prince Johnson was not at the port of Monrovia when ECOWAS was seated in that port.
Before you get into that, let me ask you to address Mr. Weir. And I know your opinion is I want you to clarify your opinion. What do you think about it? And also, Mr. Weir, I think he or kind of what he said is in agreement to what how most Liberians are viewing what Stanton did, and as far as Stanton being in close proximity with our president elect, he's saying and Parker is already in bed with Prince Johnson. So Stanton is a Liberian. He admitted to committing a crime, and he didn't kill anyone. So he
And
doesn't
he's
really
willing.
have.
Besides that, he's willing to change. This man is willing to change.
Let me ask
Life
Mr.
is about changing.
Let me ask Mr. Boda. Let me ask Mr. Boda. In the same vein, I remember it was Mr. Weir that would come hard on Nathaniel McGill for corruption. And we have a convicted criminal standing, taking picture and posting it publicly with a president elect. I want you to react to Mr. Weir's opinion on this.
Well, I think I want to disagree with my brother Weir on that situation. He has been convicted. He pled guilty to his crime. That does not negate the fact that he's not a felon. And if Mr. Walker going to prosecute people, he's going to be the guy who is going to be, we call him Mr. Fair and Clean guy. Liberians believe in him, want to have fair and just for our society. And we got a lot of people in our arena, like I said earlier, who are vying for position and have a similar situation. For instance, Representative Kofa. Fanatic Kofa did not commit crime in Liberia. He was here as a legal person who went to school. He's a lawyer. He's clean. I mean, he committed a crime. He ate client money and he got convicted and went to jail.
Thank you.
And went back to Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. Boda. Let's hear from you, Councilor Freeman. Where does it end when we question this person morality, the reference the other person that has similar thing and say it's okay because you're in there, Mr. Councilor Freeman? Let's hear from you.
Look, I mentioned just before we came on air with Martin that there's a slippery slope here. And the slippery slope is Joseph Boakai wants to present himself as the new Liberia, so to speak, a leader of accountability, a leader of the rule of law, a man who is going to do right by the Liberian people. Now, I understand that Stanton crime was not committed in Liberia, but it's the appearance of impropriety. It's the appearance that, well, how do you say you're going to hold all these people accountable when it's not just Stanton, but there are several others in the same category as Stanton that within your close circle. So look, I don't think from a legal standpoint there's anything legally wrong with him mingling or interacting with Stanton, but it's just the appearance that it gives in the minds of Liberians who are looking at him now and say, okay, how is he going to be different from the rest of them when he can't actually distance himself from someone who has committed a crime and has been convicted of a crime? But I mean, other than that, I can't really say a whole lot about it. I think it's his prerogative. It's up to him. The Liberian people are going to make a decision, make an opinion, form an opinion about him based on his interaction with Stanton and some of the other guys out there that also have the same kind of tainted record. But I mean, if I was advising Mr. Walker, I'd say, look, if you want to interact with Stanton, do it in the background. Don't do it in the public sphere. Just because it in a sense, the wrong message. It's the appearance of that impropriety that I'm concerned about.
Thank you. And let me just stay with you and ask you this question. I know you've already erected that legal checkpoint and there is no legal issues there with him meeting with Stanton. But also, I want you to opine on this. There were an allegation from his former close ally, Costa, that Stanton was financially supporting him for the past 6 years. Now, with him being with Stanton, how does that play out? How do you think that will play out to the Liberian people as to that allegation being true or false? Councilor Fremont, let me hear from you.
Look, Costa statements, and I don't like to give a whole lot of sticking to what Costa said, because first, I don't watch him. I've never watched Costa before in my life. I don't watch
the allegation. Just to the allegation.
But that's the thing. Costa made his statements presumably prior to the elections, correct?
Right.
And despite those allegations, the Liberian people voted for Walker. So that tells me they didn't put a whole lot of weight into what Costa said, regardless of the truth or falsity of what Costa may have said. The Liberian people just didn't give a whole lot of put a lot of weight to that. So I don't want to say a whole lot about that because I don't think, legally speaking, there's anything inherently wrong with that. But then again, Walker may feel indebted to this man if in fact the man was sponsoring his campaign for X amount of time. And maybe that's part of the reason he continued to interact with Stanton Witherspoon. I mean,
thank you very much, Councilor.
I really don't know a whole lot to say about that.
Thank you. Let's not hear from Bishop Reeves. Mr. Reeves, give us your opinion on this.
Well, it is quite clear that we in Liberia, we have a problem with impunity. Impunity refers to the exemption of freedom from punishment or negative consequences for wrongful actions. There are many people in Liberia who have committed serious crimes. And the Liberian people would just, just forget about it. Let the man go. Let's go ahead. But we will be the same people that will come back and talk about injustice and talk about integrity and talk about the people are stealing. They lack integrity. We say all these things, but when it comes to our doorstep, forget about it. Don't let it.
Well, I'm the one to take care of something real quick.
My advice here is that our president-elect should not be seen publicly with this gentleman who has committed a serious crime. In as much as he's helping the party, he can go to America and meet with him and say, look, thank you, man, and all of that, but should not come on social media. I don't think he should. I don't think he should have done that. Okay? We call him, all the people call him wisdom basket. That was not wisdom. He should not have met with this man in the public. Let's be honest. Okay, the guy did well. The guy did all of what he's doing. That does not give him the right to be seen publicly on the internet with a convicted criminal. And let's be clear. This is not just with this gentleman that we're dealing with. We have other people in Liberia. You people call Fonati Kofa. There are so many other people. The same thing with the three gentlemen that was flagged down by the U.S. government. Nobody said nothing to them. People voted for them and put them in office. So this is something that is across the board. I'm not just talking to to President-elect, but I'm addressing him now because he is the person in question. But it's a general thing in Liberia, and we need to deal with it.
Thank you. Now, what do you think about? I'll come back to you, Mr. Weir. But what do you think about Mr. Weir comparison of Stanton's crime with that of Prince Johnson to justify his
Mr.
opinion?
Weir was wrong. Let's not even go there. He was wrong for that. He's not correct. Don't put band-aid on anything. The man committed a crime. Distance yourself from him publicly. Because you can't come and talk about corruption, you can't come and talk about crime. With this man will punish crime. Then you take picture with convicted criminal, and because it's not in Liberia, so you think it's okay? No. He should have gone to Stanton, thank him, but should not have come in the public with it.
David has question, Derek.
It sends a wrong message.
Go right ahead, David.
Yeah, this issue about Guatemala shaking the hands or meeting with Stanton who have been convicted in the United States. Somebody said something like that. Look, let's look at it generally. What do you analysts think about Liberians who joined the queue and voted for war laws? People who have slaughtered and murdered people, innocent people, wantonly killed them, and they joined in the queues during elections and voted them. We're talking about the likes of Prince Johnson. We're talking about the likes of George Bulley. Many of them in-house are being elected. What do you think about Liberia? This about I just met one person who committed crime in the United States or convicted. What's about Liberians in general that have joined queues and voted for Prince Johnson and voted for George Bulley and others who committed heinous crimes in this country? What do you think about that too? This is not let's look at it holistically now.
But that's the same thing I just addressed. I said Liberians in general have a problem with impunity. That was the first thing I said. Liberians in general, across the board, it has nothing to do with a particular party. All of us, we need to deal with impunity in our country. It's across the board, and it's a problem for us.
Thank you, Bishop Reeves. Mr. Weir, I don't know if you'd like to respond to Mr. Reeves or Bishop Reeves. He said you were wrong about the comparison you were making.
Here is the way I look at it. Thank God that he's a bishop. The reason is because God forgives when you did something and recognize and say, yes, I did it. I'm willing to change. So the way I think Liberians should judge Boakai is if he takes power and perhaps Witherspoon did something during his tenure as president, then he said, oh, they messed up, what have been before. But I think appreciating someone, nobody is perfect, especially somebody who has accepted his wrongdoing and willing to pay the price. And since then, nobody has ever seen him of getting involved into committing another crime. He has been saying it publicly on the radio, in the public sphere. He did not, and he accepted. I think the Bible even says that whenever you accept wrong, you should be forgiven. So this is where I'm speaking.
Mr. We thank you. Don't do that.
Can I say something?
Don't do that. Don't do that, Mr. Weir. What if somebody is
Go ahead.
Okay. But what I'm saying, Sharia, is that, in my opinion, I don't know starting from anywhere. We read about this, and this our counselor here explained to us the time you spend in jail, all of that stuff. I know that. I know it's a crime. I am not saying it is right to commit a crime. I'm not saying it is right when you commit a crime, they should reward you. This is not my point. The point I am making here is that for people to despise Boakai because this man was a criminal when he supported Burka throughout. So why would he deceive the public, the same man who supported him because he became president, and say, well, my man, you are a criminal? Because the man was a criminal and supported him throughout, based on what we heard so far.
Burka could have appreciated him behind closed doors.
It doesn't make difference.
You should not come in the public.
It doesn't make
It
doesn't
difference.
It doesn't mean that Burka wasn't fair to the Liberian people. It is
No,
better.
it means that
for the people to see
let
him.
me
That
tell you exactly. Let me tell you exactly what it means. It means that Burka is merciful. It means that Burka he has empathy for this guy. Okay, so he will go behind closed door and say, "Look, thank you, appreciate him." But to come in a public space and bring that convicted criminal, there are many. It's not acceptable. So don't come bring Bible and say, "Look, many people can commit crime and we can forgive them." All right, but every crime that is committed, there are consequences.
But the consequences,
we are not saying that Burka should not appreciate Stanton, but we say he should not have done that.
He just appreciated this guy.
You're still trying to argue with this.
Yeah, let me
let's give Mr. Boda the opportunity to come in. Mr. Boda.
Wrong, Mr.
But Jawagin, here's the thing, right? Stanton does not confess his sin because he felt that he was guilty. He knew what was coming to him. And I might be corrected by the counsel here. Stanton, if you remember, Stanton first went to court and pleaded not guilty. But when he knew that what was at stake, when he had continued with the case, would have been greater than what it is today, and he circumvented the situation and said, "Oh, I plead guilty because of his legal advice." So Stanton had not apologized to even those that he affected today in America. There are families that are being affected by his dealing today that are suffering. He had never come publicly and say, "Oh, I am sorry for what I did wrong." So I am not going to say, look, Stanton, he's a nice guy. Yeah, he know he got his foundation, he raising money, he's doing his business, he's trying to create his own image. But that does not negate the fact that Mr. Stanton Weatherford is a felony and he's a criminal just as any other criminal around is. He's no different from any criminal around here. And if we are talking about people who have committed crime against or who don't have the reputation to stay in the space of repetition, Stanton should be out, and Mr. President-elect should distinguish himself from that situation. And we need to address it seriously as Liberian.
Yes, distance himself from it. It doesn't mean he doesn't appreciate Stanton for what Stanton did. But when it comes to integrity, when it comes to all these different things we're going to be talking here, you cannot be seen with a convicted criminal on social media. Nobody will understand why you're doing that.
So here's my question: Why, if he were to do the thing secretly and tell the Liberian people that he doesn't want to see this guy, then the picture comes out in the public, what will you say?
No. He's
not coming in the public still. Not there.
Listen, when you're dealing with issues like that, which is very sensitive, he doesn't have to go to the Liberian people and say, I don't want to see this guy. No, that's not what he's doing. All right? You can distance yourself from the person. That's what you do. You distance yourself from him. But behind closed doors, you appreciate the man because you are merciful. But you cannot come in the public as
Bishop. So why if when you go there privately and picture comes out, are you going to say?
That is not wisdom. That is not wisdom.
That's
Thank you.
If you're going to do it privately and picture comes out that you met with this guy, what were you going to say?
Now, if we
you
start
say the man
attacking,
is dishonest. That's what I'm saying.
So you're telling us now, if we start attacking the president now, the president-elect now, for going to bed with convicted criminal, you think
why would he hire to meet with this guy? Hiding for what?
It would not be good for Liberia. It would not be good for us. That's why we don't want to carry that tune.
Okay.
It would not be good for us.
But that's
so he shouldn't be doing that.
But I think you should put everything out there, let the people judge instead of hiding it, instead of doing it secretly. At this, they've been doing it secretly. I believe that he should do it openly and let it be done with.
He should distance himself.
That's my opinion.
Let me tell you something. even in the international community, everywhere in the world, no matter where you go, what Omar Boyka is supposed to do is distance himself from that guy. He should not be seen in the public with that guy, even though the guy worked, even though the guy did some things, he should distance himself from it. That's what he's supposed to do. He shouldn't be seen like this. So it means that you are sending a clear message to the Liberian people that you can reward criminality.
Okay, well, let me tell you that question.
You
may have a
reward
question.
criminality, and we're not going to take that.
Before we take David though, but to Mr. John Winkin, we are earlier point. He's already in bed with a warlord, Prince Johnson. He says Stanton crime is a lesser crime. Bishop Reeves, like, can you respond to that? Can you respond to Mr. Weir with that mindset that and President-elect Boyka is already in bed with a warlord? Stanton committed a crime that he's like in Mr. Weir words. He has already apologized to the public for. He's already pleaded guilty to that crime. So it shouldn't be any issue. To Mr. Weir point, can you speak to that very briefly?
It's a major issue. Whether it is Prince Johnson or it is Stanton or whoever it is, impunity must be. We must deal with impunity in our
But there is a penalty here already. The guy is being punished.
No, but let's get something straight here, Derek.
Are you serious?
You cannot compare Prince Johnson case with Weatherspoon case. There are two distinct crises.
That's
two distinct situations. The fact of Prince Johnson case arise from the civil crisis, civil war.
We're not getting into those cases.
There's two different cases here. Don't compare Prince Johnson case with.
I wasn't doing the comparison.
Weatherspoon knowingly orchestrated his case to rob people.
Wait, let me ask you a question.
The situation with Prince Johnson, it was a civil crisis. It was an uprising. What happened in that event?
I just don't want to go to Prince Johnson because in my presence, Prince Johnson killed innocent people. So don't go there.
Forget about killing innocent people. War is not split out as a work.
Let's not deviate to the Prince Johnson crowd. Let's not leave it.
So are you telling me?
No, you cannot compare the two. My legal counsel here can tell me the two situations are not the same.
Are you telling me that the thing that Musa Belete did and FIFA came out publicly and said that he committed a crime, all right? And the Liberian people still were pointing there and voted for him.
I am not saying it is right. It's not what I'm saying. But I think it would be a deceit for this man to go see the man secretly. That's my point. What's he secretly for?
The people we voted for into office that committed crime, and we have not done anything. We have rewarded them for it.
Let's hear from Councilor Freeman. Go ahead.
Mr. Weir, I don't think it's the issue of secrecy. No one is saying that Joseph Boyka should not appreciate Stanton. No one is saying that Joseph Boyka should not meet with Stanton. But we are saying essentially it is poor judgment on his part to be seen with Stanton publicly. It's not an issue of, okay, well, you cannot appreciate him. I think here's what I think Mr. Boyka should have done. First and foremost, he should have disavowed what Stanton has done, his crimes. He should admonish Stanton for the commission of his crimes. First and foremost, he hasn't done that yet. Mr. Boyka is not even on record saying that I will not condone what this man has been accused for and has been found guilty of. Now, correct me. I stand corrected. If you can show me whether or not he has admonished him publicly, then I stand corrected. So it's not an issue of secretly. No one is saying do it secretly. We are saying that it's not good judgment, okay, to be commingling, to be meandering with a man who has recently been found guilty of committing a serious crime, right? You can appreciate him all you want, but it sends the wrong message. The appearance of that impropriety. Boyka on the one hand said he's going to fight corruption, he's going to hold corrupt leaders accountable, he's going to be a good leader. All of those good things he's saying. But then on the other hand, you're not yet interacting and taking pictures with a convicted felon. You can appreciate him all you want, but it is not good judgment to do that in the public sphere. And keep in mind, everything I'm saying, keep in mind that he has not even publicly admonished him for his crime, even though almost every Liberian know that he was sponsoring Bouaka financially. So therefore, people are saying Bouaka is conflicted, and the conflict is, oh, what? Because he was sponsoring me, I'm not going to admonish him. I'm not going to disavow him. So what does that mean? It means as long as you support him, he turns a blind eye from your wrongdoings. Presumably, that's what it means. Right?
The same thing happened with President Obama. Somebody just put that thing in the chat room. The same thing happened with President Obama when he was running for president. His pastor came on air and said all kinds of things. Obama distanced himself from that man because he was looking at a greater good. He was looking at what he distanced himself. And it doesn't mean that he cut his relationship from the pastor, but he distanced himself from that for the sake of the public. The old man's supposed to be, they call him wisdom basket. So let him use wisdom over there.
Thank you, Mr. Weah.
Yeah, so I want to I listened to that speech of Obama when that happened regarding Jeremiah, the pastor. It was prior to the elections. But with everything that with all it that you are saying, I am still not convinced that Bouaka did run so far. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. I will maintain that.
Where's the basket?
Yeah, it's why. Bouaka, I listen to Bouaka made a public statement. He talks about how Liberians should govern themselves. How Liberians they talk about the respect, integrity. He didn't name anybody that even using abusive languages on the public radio and television, all the kind of stuff. Yeah, more Liberian to desist from this stuff. Bouaka did not, in a way, Obama did it. Bouaka didn't do it because Obama did it prior to the election. Bouaka didn't comment. Bouaka did not comment throughout the process. Despite everything that Costa say about him, he never commented on any of these things. But my conclusion is this: my point of contention is this. Bouaka look at all of these things. People said all these things about this guy, and the Liberian people listen to him, meaning Stanton. Mm-hmm. They voted Bouaka. Moreover, the same Liberian people right now, Stanton may be a bad person, but he's doing something great that we can all learn from. For example, it's about transparency. Sorry to say this. He's doing the thing that government can learn from too, about the distribution of food. I'm not saying to distribute food, but showing transparency. Learning from transparency, making sure that if you did small things, small, when people see that you are trusted, they can give money. That's what I'm talking about. So you're doing some good things as well.
Mr. Weah, I want you to address something Mr. Freeman said earlier. But again, to your point though, doesn't that fall along what you just said? Doesn't that fall along the same line when Nathaniel McGill said, though we're stealing from the government,
giving it to the poor people.
We're giving it to the poor people. Doesn't that fall along the same line? Because it's clear. No, let me finish. It's clear. Stanton stole from the Liberian, stole from the American people. He stole from people here in America, committed that crime. And he using the money now to help poor people in Liberia. What's the difference between those two?
No. There's what you are saying is a big difference. The question of the right issue is not about helping Liberian people. What this guy did, he said it is okay to steal from Liberian people and pay housing. Because I told the people that were in government. They say it is okay.
Let me finish. I really want you to speak to Councilor Freeman though, but I thought to just bring this point back up because what you're saying, one may argue that all of what Stanton is doing in Liberia is based on the money he stole, the crime he committed. And I'm trying to draw that analogy between him and Nathaniel McGill. Though we're stealing the money, but we're using it on poor people. And here you are, you're saying what Stanton is doing, he's doing good. Though he committed a crime, but he's doing good.
No. Here's what I'm saying. Number one. Mm-hmm. This guy did not justify. He has never justified anybody that what he did was correct. I mean it, Stanton. Mankell and other guys, those in government are stealing government money from Liberian people. They think that it is okay. They never want to
Well,
quote. But
let
this
me
man, but the money he's spending on the issue of the right is not his own money. But what I was saying about the issue of the rights, it is people that donating the money. But what I'm trying to point out here is that he exposing Liberian that it is okay to do something transparently that people will see and support it. That's my point I'm making.
Derek, can I ask
There's a big difference between Nathaniel Manke and this guy.
Yeah. Before
Nathaniel Manke point here is
not the I want to ask the council
before you do that, Mr. Porter, let me still Mr. Weir, and to what Mr. Councilor Freeman said earlier, that to this day, and he stand corrected, Stanton has and President-elect Bouaga hasn't either admonished Stanton for his support during the election or said anything about his crime. What do you think about that?
That's what I just said. I said when Bouaga was running, he didn't comment any of this thing. When Costa said it,
we know that. What do you think about that?
But what I think about that, I think it was wrong before and it is still wrong.
So now we can let me allow Mr. Buddha to ask the councilor a question.
Council, I just want you to weigh on this, right? A sanction and a crime. Is sanction a crime or sanction is an allegation and being charged? What is the two? Can you distinguish between the two for us, please?
So the sanction was brought by the U.S. State Department, right?
Yeah.
The U.S. State Department sanctioned individuals within Liberia for committing corruption, allegedly committing corruption. What I would liken that to is what you might refer to as reasonable suspicion, right? That a crime has been committed. So the U.S. government have reason to believe that those individuals in question have committed a crime. And so based on that reasonable suspicion, the U.S. government now imposes sanction. The State Department specifically imposes sanction. That is not the same thing as being convicted or being charged for a crime. They've not been charged for any crime. I'm talking about Miguel and I'm talking about Tuere, the guy from the National Port.
Thank you.
They've been charged of any crime. They've not been convicted of any crime. The U.S. government is based on our findings. We have reasonable suspicion that these individuals have committed some criminality, a criminal act. It's up to the home country, in this case, Liberia, to conduct further investigation and where the evidence support it, indict those individuals for the crimes. That hasn't happened yet.
And because our problem is impunity
Thank you,
problem,
that's what I wanted to hear.
Because it's impunity problem, we
Correct.
did not follow up on that thing to say, you bring McGee there. Let's deal with it.
Let me take that further, if I may.
Go ahead.
I know that people have been trying to make the analogy between McGill, Tuere, and Sambuca. I've seen on social media people say, well, McGill and Tuere are not going to take the position. The same thing you got to the Sambuca, we're going to do it to them too. No, that's not going to happen yet unless the Liberian government does its own investigation, prosecute, and subsequently convict those two individuals. It can happen. It's possible. It's up to this government, the incoming administration, to say, you know what? We are going to look closely into why you were sanctioned. And if we find sufficient reason, we're going to indict you for crimes and prosecute you. If the government can successfully prosecute McGill and Tuere, according to 50A of the criminal code in Liberia, they would be barred from holding office, just like Sambuca was barred from holding office.
Thank you
But
very much.
they're not going to do it because of impunity.
Exactly.
All of across the board, our country.
Thank you, Council. I just wanted to have
we
it
can
clarity
deal with that
because
thing
people
there.
keep messing the two together, combining everybody in the same basket.
No, it's not the same.
Nobody, I don't know when other people messing it up, but people not messing it up. But this is what I mean. When I was in Liberia, for example, I talked to people that are in government, and I was asking them why were they stealing money, and they said, well, at least it was better for stealing the money and building houses and supporting people in Liberia. But during their leave time, people were building houses out of the country. we shall oppose, we shall win against. Manke, one of my friends, he died now. He opened one newspaper that the guy broke away from Inquirer, for Ethiopia. You give the guy money. But what I'm saying here, I know people in government, I saw how the guys took money out. I'm talking about what I saw, how they spend the money. If you ask them, they say at least they spend the money in Liberia. It's not what I'm talking about. And I want for everybody to get me clear here. I am not in any way stating that what this guy did is the right thing. My point is, this guy went to court, convicted, and he has been punished for that. That is a fact. That also doesn't stop him from being a Liberian, not to participate in the electoral process. He has a right to participate in the Liberian electoral process. Supporting Bouaka is a right, because there is nothing in the Constitution forbidding him to support anybody. There is nothing in the Constitution for him to exercise a right as a Liberian. That's what I'm saying here. Unless he does something contrary. But as far as we are concerned, it's going to go to court. And every noise that we are making here, which I said before, we got a lot of warlords, even beginning with Taylor. Taylor was to be extradited to Liberia when you're jail director. He broke jail from America. He became president. There are a lot of things that have been happening in Liberia, and we as the bishop said, we have not done anything about it. So why this guy alone just meeting with this president? What is the big deal about that?
Where do we start from?
Where do we start from? Where do we start from?
Can I ask the council another question?
Go ahead, but for the record,
with because of our dual citizenship,
And
what is it in the line of felony? Liberia consider dual citizenship with America now. What is it? You are legal minded to understand some of these things. I'm a novice with legal terminology. So Liberia do not have dual citizenship. What about Liberian committing felon? Does that in any way apply to the in Liberia?
Yeah, Mr. Councilor Freeman,
I understand the question.
Like he was just saying, we got he's let's consider you are a Liberian U.S. citizen and also a Liberian, and you have a felon here. Does that equate to you being a felon in Liberia? How does it apply?
No, you're not a felon in Liberia.
No,
you're not a felon in Liberia. The law is parochial. What that means is law is more often limited to a geographical location. Okay, but it's bad public policy to employ a felon in a position of trust in Liberia. So, for example, this guy Flanty Kofa, who is a felon in America. What I will argue, if you were applying for a federal job, they do a background investigation. And if they found out that you are a felon, whether it was in Liberia or whether it was in America, you are going to be precluded from holding that position. In Liberia, because of the impunity, as Bishop Reeves, clearly said, we don't do any of those things. So even though the law is parochial, that just because you are a felon here doesn't mean you're a felon in Liberia, but it is bad public policy. It sets a bad precedent for us to be electing people who we know have committed serious crimes. For example, in the case of Mr. Kofa, who might very well be your next Speaker of the House, he was in the position of trust. Lawyers are considered fiduciary. They are in positions of trust. They handle clients' money. They handle large sum of money in some instances. And you invested that client's money, convicted for it, you are disbarred for it. In a well-functioning society, Mr. Kofa would not have been allowed to even run to be a representative in Liberia, let alone being considered to be Speaker of the House. So yeah, it's bad public policy. He's not a felon in Liberia, but the fact is, they know for a fact he was convicted for investing clients' money. And so therefore, even though he's not a felon in Liberia, but he's still a felon in America, and we should take that seriously because we're going to be putting in a position of trust in Liberia.
the same thing happened. The same thing happened with this guy, Tobias Bowen. Tobias was in America. He went and he did rape and all of that. He ran away from the law and went to Liberia. When he came to Liberia, Ellen Johnson gave him a job. Ellen Johnson gave him a job. And because he still has a habit,
Bishop Reeves.
he was caught in Liberia again. and that's how he's in jail now.
Bishop Reeves.
So the thing is, in Liberia, we do not deal with impunity, and
Bishop
it's
Reeves.
across the board. We need to focus on that thing and let God help Liberia. We need to deal with all of us.
Let's hear from Councilor. Let's hear from Mr. Weir, and then we'll take a break.
Okay, so Bishop Reeves, I agree with what you are saying. For example, Chucky Taylor, who is in prison now for 99 years in America. He committed crime in Liberia, not in the United States. But because he was an American citizen, because of that, but in our country, we don't do that. I understand that. But in this particular situation, all the listening that we are saying does not reach the point of just greeting a friend. They were friends before the man became president. That's what I'm saying.
When were Parker and Stanton friends?
No, Boga not just a friend, he's a president-elect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boda. And
I get that. If you're president-elect, doesn't mean that you don't have your friends.
No. Your friendship now got a distinction now. Whatever you do now has some. If I'm wrong, counsel, please correct me.
This guy is going to jail. This guy is going to jail.
Of all the shows that we have done, Mr. Weir, this one tonight, you're on the opposite side. Yes, tonight, God, yes, I'm telling you, of all the shows we've done here, tonight, you are wrong.
I agree.
Guys, if you're watching us, this is the hard zone. Stay with us.
Yes, like I was being in a bed. There are things that they're doing they don't make sense to me. But if you were to ask anybody, they will say this is LIB. That's what they tell you. So it doesn't mean I don't understand it, but this is the point. This is where we are.
No, want to get for LIB. Want to get a
if President-elect Parker,
we are due for a break, Mr. Bishop Reeves. Let's take a break when we come back.
Please make sure that President-elect do not bring Mr. Weir to be one of his advisors. We'll be in trouble in the country.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll move on to the president-elect event.
I really want rule of life in Liberia. That's what I said.
Mr. Weir, Bishop Reeves, Mr. Weir. Let's take a break. Councilor Freeman, I apologize. I know you say something.
No, Jerry, I want to discuss a little bit the issue of audits. So I'll stick around for that. I mean, I'm in my hotel room, so it wouldn't matter anyway. I'll jump in there.
All right. So let's take a break. We'll come back, then we'll get into that.
Maintaining your vehicle can be a major investment. That's why here at Brothers Auto Care, we pride ourselves on providing professional and reliable auto care at affordable rates. Whether you need an inspection, new brakes, or diagnostic reports, our skillful and experienced mechanics are here for you every step of the way. Call Brothers Auto Care now to schedule your next auto maintenance and repair service. At Brothers Auto Care, we help you drive home with peace of mind.
Why should you not speak to him?
My name is Theophilus Julipa Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lift Africa LLC. Lift Africa started as an employment agency that sought the employment of immigrants coming to the U.S. and finding ways and means to go to start life in this great your country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, hall rental. As you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Kreitz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network, presenting to you tonight episode 12 of season 4 of The Hard Zone. My name is Derek Yale, and I'm playing host. I'm here with a team of panelists, Mr. Jao Winkin, Mr. Councilor Freeman, Bishop Reeves, and Mr. Boda. Do we still have my co-host on the phone, David Takwe? Yes, and David Takwe is joining us by way of phone from Liberia. He's the co-host here tonight. Now, let's get right into our conversation. Before the break, we talk about President-elect in photos with the former CEO of Spawn Network and also a convicted criminal here, Stanton Witherspoon. And now let's move into his visit here. But let's first talk about our conversation we started last week about President-elect and the Unity Party administration first 100 days. Is it going to be audit? Is it going to be the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia? But more Liberians are pushing for the audits of the previous administration. And last week we had a really great conversation on that. So let's continue. Let's continue with that. You weren't here last week, Mr. Weah. So
No.
let me start with you on this conversation, and then we can get the ball rolling. But if you can add, if David want to get the ball rolling and let him do so very briefly, then I'll give him.
David, you got anything to say?
In terms of what the audit?
Yes.
Yes, of course. President-elect Joseph Boakai is on the president.
It's not where David can increase or get closer to the microphone because it's very low. I know one of our viewers were talking about it.
David, they say you are very low.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
I'm okay now.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're asking for Joseph Boakai first 100 days in office, right? Is that what
Yeah, on the issue of auditing. On the issue of auditing.
Yeah, on the issue of auditing, yes, of course. Calls are coming from everywhere across the country. Liberians in and outside Liberia asking Joseph Boakai to audit the outgoing government. But as we discussed last week, there are also concerns among the same Liberians that there will be a witch hunt and there's no need for Boakai to audit the outgoing officials. Why didn't the audit Eric Johnson Sully? So Boakai should not audit the outgoing government of George Weah. And so, but there are others who say the George Weah did not audit Johnson Sully. That doesn't mean that Boakai should not audit the outgoing officials, including Mr. Weah. So that's the debate here. That's the debate here.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Let's hear from you now, Mr. Weah, and then we'll do Councilor Freeman next.
Okay, here is my take. It should begin with the incoming officials from the president. They should declare their own assets first before anybody take position. Let them show what they have. That should be the beginning. And I also support the idea of an audit. The fact that previous administration didn't do it doesn't mean it is wrong. It is right. Liberians, we all crime want to see how people get money, how people acquire resources, how somebody can be appointed as director and the next day building houses. So all of these things is very important. So I am in full support of the audit and also declaration of asset by the incoming government.
Thank you. Now, when you say the incoming officials should declare the asset, that includes the president and vice president, like, am I correct?
From the presidency down. From the presidency down.
Do you think, or like, do you think that is going to happen? And I'm just asking based on your opinion. Do you think that is going to happen, to have the incoming official, all of them, to declare the assets? Are you confident that President-elect when Joseph Yema Boakai will make sure that happen?
Well, I think that's what the code of conduct says. Whether
the code of conduct demands that people declare their assets, what do they have before coming to government?
Is David still talking? Because
yeah,
we can't hear him. Just quickly ask David. I don't know if he can hear me before I move to Councilor Freeman. Is there a time frame before that? Is there a time frame for them to declare the assets?
Yeah, David. What David saying? David saying that it's what is required. All the government officials from the president down.
Yeah, I understand it's required, but is that like a time frame when they are supposed to, or when they are expected to do the shoot?
David said, is there a time frame to do that?
Wait, I don't know. Is it just me, but I can't hear David at all.
You can hear David. You can hear anything.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still here, buddy. I'm not hearing you. I don't know why. I'm hearing you clearly.
Yes.
Okay. You look at what I'm saying.
Be sure hearing you too.
The LCC now has given them a time frame, December 12th or before December 12th. All the outgoing officials of the WIA government should declare their assets.
What about the incoming?
All right.
The incoming will also declare it. Also, the incoming government officials of the incoming government will also declare assets even before taking office, and that's what the code of conduct say. But people continue to violate the code of conduct. Sometimes they take office and they don't declare their assets. It happened in a weird government, and we hope that it doesn't happen in the broadcast government.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from you now, Councilor Freeman.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
So, what I would like to say about this whole, I understand Mr. Weah mentioned that the incoming official should declare the asset, and that's true. This is not a matter of aspiration. It's a legal requirement. Okay? The law is clear on its face, what is required of government officials. The Code of Conduct says that public officials must declare their income, their assets, and liabilities at specific intervals. One, prior to taking office, and at the end of every 3 years, or on promotion or progression. This is not a matter of aspiration. It is a legal requirement that they must declare their assets and liabilities. So, look, there is a legal maxim that says, he who comes to justice must come with clean hand. He who comes to equity must come with a clean hand. The incoming administration is saying they're going to audit past administration, the current administration. Every Liberian should encourage that. I think it's a very good thing. But on that note, that is the prerogative of the executive branch. Mr. Walker is saying we are going to audit them. That's fine. On the issue of them declaring their assets, it's a legal requirement. The law says they must do so, and there's no wiggle room in there. So I want to set that stage. Let me transition on the issue of audit. I remember the last episode, Bishop Reeves made a point, and he says that, and I'm trying to quote him here accurately. He said the first step should be they should declare the assets. The second step, they should audit, and then we should govern. I was pondering over that over the week. I'm not sure what, when he said then we should govern, what Bishop Reeves actually meant. I'm hoping Bishop Reeves meant that after the audit, we should follow the logical steps. In my mind, here is the logical step. I'm going to break it down. There is reasonable suspicion right now in Liberia. Am I being heard clearly?
Yes, you are.
There is reasonable suspicion that members of the current administration have engaged in criminality. All right? Reasonable suspicion. Even in law enforcement in America, before a police officer can arrest you, he must have reasonable suspicion that a crime has occurred or a crime is about to occur. The issue of corruption in Liberia, every Liberian has reason to believe that members of the current administration have engaged in criminality. In order for you to establish that criminality for a fact, the incoming administration is saying we're going to audit. That's the first step. You audit them. The second logical step after you audit, you don't just audit for the sake of auditing people. You don't waste taxpayer money simply because you want to find out who committed what and then go scot-free. We saw that during the Weah administration. Weah brought in my former employer, Crow Discovery, to Liberia. And Crow Discovery audited the central bank. Ellen's son was implicated, but nothing became of that. So we don't simply audit for the heck of auditing. You audit, and where the evidence leads, you follow. So after the auditing, if there's reason to believe that crimes have been committed, then you conduct an extensive criminal investigation. The criminal investigation gives you what we call probable cause. Once you do the criminal investigation, you get probable cause. The next logical step is for you to indict those that have engaged in criminality. You must indict them, because if you don't set the right precedent, then we create a situation of this impunity we are talking about, where we say, well, we know who committed the crime, but then so what? What have we done after that? So now you indict them, and after you indict them, we must successfully prosecute them, incapacitate them, create a deterrent society by holding them accountable, and maybe confiscate their properties. So the whole idea of auditing is a good thing, but please let us not stop there. My admonishment to the incoming administration is that when you want to audit, but please do not stop there. Let us hold these people accountable, because the precedent that you set is going to really have a defining moment in Liberia.
Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. Let me stay with you and ask you this question. I have two questions for you. Now, first is on the assets declaration, and you're pushing for this to be the first step for the new administration, or you say it's a legal requirement that is the law. Now, if the new administration, incoming officials, do not declare their assets, let's say for the sake of this conversation, the president-elect do not declare his asset, can he still launch the audit to the previous administration? And my second question, there is this mindset, and I know CDC used it during their term, that we have other agenda to focus on. They had like the pro-poor agenda. They said they wanted to focus on that. Because of that, they couldn't do, or they couldn't focus on audit. So can you clarify this for our audience and the Liberian people? Can the incoming administration do those two things at the same time? Carry on their plan, their arrest plan they have, and still conduct a successful audit or declare assets and still do all of those same things, instead of having the Liberian people to wait for them to be done doing auditing before they can focus on the arrest? Can they do those two things at the same time?
It's not mutually exclusive. Look, I mentioned the fact that declaring their asset is a legal requirement. Let me address the issue of if they do not declare their assets. Look, if Mr. Walker doesn't set the stage by declaring his assets, we're going to have a situation where his officials are not going to declare their assets. And if they do not declare their assets, unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do. Because keep in mind, the executive branch is the enforcer of the law. If the executive branch, as an enforcer of the law, itself does not enforce the law, there's not a whole lot you can do, unfortunately, right? So we have a situation right now where the LACC is asking members of the current administration, the outgoing administration, to declare their assets. And I read something where Senator Dillon said, well, the LACC themselves, the commission of the LACC had not declared their assets. The law requires them to declare their assets, and they are here asking people to declare their assets when they themselves have not declared their assets. That goes to your question. Nothing has been done about it, even though we know, everyone knows that they have not declared their assets. No one is taking any enforceable measure against them. So if Mr. Walker doesn't comply with the legal requirement and declare his assets, his officials are not going to declare the assets, and unfortunately, the Liberian people will not be able to do anything. Now, with respect to whether or not they can still audit, presumably they can still audit, but then it calls into question their sincerity. It calls into question whether or not they should actually be taken seriously. If you truly want to hold people accountable and you're coming to equity, then you must come with clean hands. So if they themselves are not coming with clean hands, how do they expect the Liberian people to take them seriously on the issue of auditing? So there is the dilemma. Okay, so I hope Mr. Walker does the right thing and encourages his officials of government to do the right thing, which is to abide by the law.
Thank you. Let's hear from you now, Bishop Reese. Speak to the issue of auditing for the new administration.
No, but I think I've made my point very clear that they need to declare their assets, and their government now needs to be audited. There's nothing wrong with it. And we should stop using some of these terminologies to keep us back. Because we don't want to persecute, because we don't want to deal with impunity. So we say, you're coming to witch hunt. Then just for the sake of peace, we will not audit the people. Yes. We are so good at using words so that we cannot do the right thing. So yes, we need to audit so we can move forward with the country. And like what Councillor said, you audit the people. If you got some of them, they are found guilty, let them be persecuted according to the law.
Thank you. No, let me. I know last episode you said it's just a matter of we're gonna have to pray for the country. Now, I'm gonna ask you this though. First, asset declaration is a law, and my co-host actually mentioned that it's a norm for government official to not enforce the law. Most government officials in Liberia do not declare the assets. Now,
I have to go. She's calling.
Okay. All right. I will excuse it. Yeah. So I'm sorry. So the co-host mentioned that in Liberia it's not common for government officials to not declare the assets. Now I'm going to ask you, are you confident that this new administration will actually set an example to have the president-elect and vice president-elect declare the assets and followed by all of the officials? Are you confident that that is going to happen?
I don't know. I can't say that for a fact. I don't know. My hope and prayer is that they will do it. They are elected in to do the right thing. Okay. Yes, and I will support them to do the right thing. But as to whether it's going to get done, we are yet to see.
Thank you. Let's now hear from Mr. Boda. Mr. Boda, speak to this issue of auditing and asset declaration. Mr. Boda.
You know what I think? The good thing about audit is that it gives everybody a plain sheet of paper, a plain field for all to walk on. And if the mandate of the Liberian people is the one to have transparency, the one accountability. And Mr. Bwaga had preached that throughout his life. He said he's the man of accountability. He wanted responsible government. He wanted government by the people and for the people. And the people have demonstrated that. And the important thing is not just about those that live the incumbent, but it's about the incoming government. Because if we do all of the current government in power, that set a yardstick, and those that coming in will have something that they know that they got a tax to perform. So I don't see it as a we hunt, and George Weah should be one of those that be happy. I know it's hard to do, and the current CDC government should be willing to submit to that audit, because that will prevent what we're having today and what we saw from the Eden government. Because George, we were afraid that his people were going to do the similar thing Eden government did, so they did not audit Eden government. And this is why we find ourselves today. So if Mr. Bwaga is truly committed to develop Liberia and international partner to work with him, that will set the yardstick a precedent for our people that come in offices. Because if you don't audit the guy, you don't show, they're just coming to do the same thing. We're going to go back to pay our rent, pay our mortgages, pay our student loan for America, and so forth.
Yeah,
and let me add this, just a quick question. If Bwaga is serious, anybody appointed for America should be given 90 days to remove their family back home. You can't be living in America and living in Liberia.
Thank you. Let me ask you this question. Based on your knowledge of Liberia political history, the relationship between Unity Party and that of the CDC. CDC took power in 2017. They did not conduct an audit on the previous administration. Some argue that it was George Weah way of protecting Ellen. It was George Weah way of protecting officials from that administration for the corrupt practices. So my question to you, do you think it would be fair for the United Party to pay back what the CDC did in 2017 to not conduct an audit? I mean, that's one question. And just referencing, piggyback on what Councilor Freeman said, when you conduct an audit, you will have to do an investigation, eventually indict people that will be found guilty for any malpractices. Now, do you think this administration will go that far after they have audited the previous administration, Mr. Bode?
Well, the council alluded to, audit is just not the fact that you just want to audit to know the man did something. You want to go behind the facts. What did you see? What the audit led you to? It's like a legal process. When you go to court, what happened? Did somebody sue you in court? You're not just going to court. You got to go to court and defend yourself. And at the end of the day, if you are being acquitted, then you walk scot-free. If you're not, you restitute whatever crime you committed. So it's the same process. Am I lying, Council? The same thing applies to the audit. If you audit the government right now, there are funds that were embezzled or whatever fund that were being taken that was not for that purpose. Whoever responsible will restitute that fund into cover. And Liberian government need every penny to survive.
Thank you. Councilor Freeman, let me just ask you this last question, and then we'll take a break, and then I'll give you guys the opportunity to close on this episode. Another factor, the issue of finance. What if this administration do not have enough funds to conduct an audit? Can they postpone it or just dismiss the whole issue of auditing?
I mean, clearly, it is their prerogative. Mr. Bwaga himself is saying that he's going to audit. If they truly want to do it, they'll find the money to do it. One of the ways they can do it through the already existing GSC, the GAC, and they can subsequently prosecute through the Ministry of Justice, and that's a government entity that's already there. Look, I've heard an argument, and I think I've listened to some people say that, well, they say they may just want to focus on the economy. Instead of auditing, their focus is going to be on the economy. That is a fallacy. to say the least. It is unacceptable. I think the suggestion is preposterous. And guess why? Corruption is endemic in Liberia. Because of corruption, the infant mortality rate is too high in Liberia. Because of corruption, our hospitals are not equipped. Because of corruption, you got little children hawking on the streets. They cannot find a way to school. Because of corruption, university students are throwing the chairs in the classroom. Corruption is the root cause. And until we can completely eliminate and take steps to actually eliminate corruption by holding corrupt officials accountable, the idea that, oh, well, we want to focus on the economy, so therefore we're not going to audit and subsequently prosecute people and perhaps, hopefully, confiscate the stolen wealth, doesn't make sense. It doesn't pass muster. If you truly want to focus on the economy, then let us take care of the underlying causes of what is keeping our economy back, i.e. corruption. So I'm not going to buy the argument that, well, if they don't have money, then they can put it on the back burner. If you truly want to generate income and recover some of the stolen money and ensure that, would-be offenders do not offend, then it's important that we start holding people accountable today.
Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. And Bishop Reeves, if you don't have anything to add, we'll take a break. Do you have anything to add?
No, I don't have anything to add.
All right, good. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will bring you the icebreaker and then the closing.
Derek, so can I go now, or you want me to stick around?
That's up to you though. But we're just about to do the closing, so if you can stick.
Okay, I'll stick around. I mean, maybe no more than 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll do the closing.
Thank you.
At Fatu's, we know what it's like to feel a little homesick. That's why we work hard to bring you the very best and freshest imported foods and supplies from home. With quality design African cloths, beauty supplies, and tasty African food items, you'll feel right at home. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Fatu's African International Market for all of your household and family needs. See you soon.
Yeah, I got a proper phone, man.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network with episode 12, the season finale of season 4. We are at the very end, so thank you for staying with us. Now let's join our panelists now to get their closing remarks on this episode. To all of you that have been with us through this season 4, I want to say thank you very much. Now it's about time for us to draw the curtain to this season and this episode. So let's hear from our panelists on their closing remark, and then we will bid you a pleasant good evening. Let's start with you, Mr. Boda. Thank you again for your appearance here on this final episode of season 4. But let me give you the opportunity to give us your closing remark.
Just before you do that, I want you to know that David is still on the line.
Oh, David, I thought after.
No, he's still here.
He's still here.
I'm
still here.
David.
Okay, all right.
You forgot David?
No, because he was with Mr. Jai Winkin. We are left. I was trying to communicate with the production team, but I did not do that. But thank you for letting me know, Mr. Bishop Reese. But let's hear from you, Mr. Boda, on your closing remark. I will take David's last as we usually do it. But let's hear from you, Mr. Boda.
Well, one thing I want to tell the Liberian people tonight is that this morning, let us slow our emotions. Our expectation is too high. Yeah, let's work on our expectation a little. Because
manage our expectation.
Yeah, let's manage your expectation. Is the fight we have. Because I know everybody thinking it's a switch that you're going to flip. And there is no switch that Boga has to flip to resolve all of our crises. They have to start with ourselves. Every Liberian has to start with themselves first. In our community, in our home, and around. To build Liberia is not the executive mansions. First, we have to love ourselves. We gotta love our community, where we live, how we want to see ourselves, what we expect, our expectation for our very self. Don't expect somebody else to be somebody and you're not that person. And that is our problem in Liberia. And I urge my Liberian brothers and sisters, the expectation you hold for another person, hold that same expectation for yourself.
Thank you.
That's all I can say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boda. Just a few weeks ago, you told the Liberian people you should put an expectation here. You got this. After you won the election, to the to bring it down to manage the emotion. Now that's very interesting. Imagine you need the party I ran the campaign on managing expectation. Let's hear from you, Bishop Reeves.
Well, I just want to thank God for the fact that we're still alive. And in order for Liberia to go forward, we need to be honest with ourselves. We need to be honest with our fellow men. We need to be tolerant. And at the same time, when crime is committed, we need to prosecute crime. That's the only way we will be held accountable and we can hold others accountable. Liberia is a great country and it will take great minds. Most of the people the Liberians who have come into the diaspora, I want to encourage all of you, to go back to Liberia and do something there. You don't have to stay right away, but let's start working our way to going back to Liberia and adding our voices to improve our country. I believe that at the end of the day, we will all be blessed by the country that God has given us. Thank you, and thank you to all the panelists. I've enjoyed myself, and I look forward to being here again.
Thank you very much, Bishop Reeves. It's always a pleasure having you here. We're very thankful for your contribution here on the Horizon. Councilor Freeman, let's get your closing remark, and then we'll join David, who is with Mr. Reeves.
My message to the Liberian people is simple, and the election's over now. It was highly contested, and it's over. It is time for the Liberian people to come together and consolidate so that we can move the country forward. The division is just too much. It's time for them to now focus on governing and put their hands around the incoming administration and be supportive of the administration's agenda so that we can move the country forward.
Yeah.
My message to the incoming administration is the people have given you a responsibility. You are in a trust position. And what you do with this responsibility matters. You can't say one thing and just because you come into government, now you do something completely different.
That's right.
And importantly, the Liberian people, the power is vested in you. Hold your elected officials accountable.
Yeah.
Hold them accountable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. Thank you, as always, for erecting illegal checkpoints here on the show and also contributing with your opinion as well. Now, let's hear from our co-host, Mr. David Takwe. Mr. Takwe.
Yeah, Derek, Joseph Boakai is under pressure, although he hasn't taken office yet. But he's under pressure not only from Liberians, but from other people outside of Liberia, asking him to audit the WIA's government and that as they are going out, as the latest statement from the LSCC say, the officials of the WIA government should declare their assets before leaving office, and that Joseph Boakai and his government should audit the outgoing government. But the Joseph Boakai, others are saying, the Joseph Boakai and his government should be exemplary in terms of declaring their assets first, even including Mr. Boakai, should declare assets first to start the ball rolling. Then his officials or incoming officials of government will also declare the assets. But if he doesn't declare assets, that means his incoming officials would not also declare the assets. So let it be across the board. Joseph Boyka should set the example by first declaring the assets before even taking office as president. Then his ministers or directors would also declare the assets. And it's a poor excuse that because George Weah did not edit the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, Boyka should now also edit the Weah's government. That would still be encouraging the culture of impunity. There are others who suggesting that the Boyka government starts his audit from the Sirleaf government to George Weah government and not leave the Sirleaf government out. So the ball is in Mr. Boyka's court as to how he will handle his government and how he will fight or begin the fight against corruption in Liberia.
Thank you very much, Mr. David Takwe.
I'd like to also thank the panelists so they can say that I'm very ungrateful for not thanking them. I'd also like to thank the panelists and hope that they will come back.
Thank you, David, and I'll thank you personally too for the work you do here on the horizon. And I know the White House may see this, so get whatever you need to take care of to appear on it, to appear on the network. We look forward to seeing you here live with us on season 5. But again, guys, this is it for this episode, and let me just say to those of you that are watching us, we'll say thank you so much. For those of you that have been with us since day one, we really appreciate the support. And like always, we are committed to bringing you quality content and conversation surrounding politics in Liberia, and also some educational surrounding education and social economic issues in Liberia. And we would like to thank the Liberian people for a peaceful election. You made a statement, and you did that very peacefully. That is not very common in Africa. So we'd like to thank you for doing that. And to the new administration, as a Liberian, I will say congratulations again, and to President-elect and Vice President-elect, Ambassador Joseph Yema Boyka and Jeremiah Korn, respectively. The Liberian people has made a statement that they elected you to replace the incumbent to lead the country for the next 6 years. So we want what is best for you, and we want you to lead us in the best way possible, and we want you to hold those that are in public office accountable. And we want you to set the example for all of us. You're an elderly person, so we expect wisdom, we expect good leadership from all of you. So we will rally around you to support you the best way that we possibly can, and we expect you to give us good leadership in return. And also, to all of you esteemed panelists, thank you so much for your time here, your contribution, and everything that you do to make this show a success too. And to our production team, the group of people that make this possible, thank you for the hard work you do behind the screen. To the CEO of this network, we're glad to have you. We appreciate your hard work to have the hard zone running. And so until next season, we know you're going to continue to do what you do to make this show a success. We have just one announcement before we draw the curtain to this episode, and the announcement is an evening of worship with Bishop Cephas Reeves. You can see him in the right hand corner.
Yeah.
Do you want to make the announcement? Or you want me to do it myself?
Go ahead. I'm excited.
All right. An evening worship with Bishop Cephas Reeves. Intimacy with God through prayer and worship. That is scheduled for Friday. It's a Saturday, right? Saturday, December 9th at 6 p.m. at the Ashton Chapel International, Baltimore, 6 Azar Court, Baltimore, MD 21227, as you can see the flyer on your screen. And so again, an evening of worship with Bishop Cephas Reeves, intimacy with God through prayer and worship. That's it for you guys. That's the announcement we have, and this is where we would like to draw the curtain on this episode. So until season 5, we will announce the date on the Liberia Radio and Television Network Facebook page as when season 5 will return. Well, until then, I would like to bid you a pleasant good evening to all of you, wherever you're watching us from.